What's up everybody, it's the Inhuman one here with part 7 of the ultimate 100% guide for Wuchang Fallen Feathers. In this episode we're going to be breaking down the Cloud Spire area into two separate videos. In this particular video I am going to show you guys how to light all three spires in preparation for the boss fights and to make sure you don't break any quest lines. As I've stated before in all the previous episodes, this guide will show you how to obtain every single thing in a single playthrough, and of course unlock the Platinum Trophy or 100% of all achievements depending on the platform you're playing on. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started by walking over to this lore item here and reading it. We're going to obtain some spicy soup. We're going to take a moment to talk about the spicy soup and equip it, because spicy soup, although I don't think is largely necessary, it is nice because it reduces the ability for you to obtain or get afflicted with frostbite. Frostbite is something that can constantly kind of afflict you as you're running through the snowy areas of this next mountainous, like snow-capped area here called Cloud Spire. And what happens though is when you get afflicted by it, it cuts your stamina down to 50%. Now for a duration of time while you have the affliction, you only have 50% of your stamina that you can use. So by taking some spicy soup every once in a while, you are able to then have pretty much immunity to frostbite. And it lasts for a good minute. I would say at least maybe 5 minutes or so, if not longer. So we're going to test it here and kind of get an idea, but go ahead and equip it into your slot. We're going to be looking at different spells we can equip as well. Honestly, the fire spell is going to be one of the best you can use at any point in time. Echo of Jatanga is never a bad choice. And then even something else like the Echo of Luobingjang isn't bad, it is a little costly, so we could go with this if we want to, just to have some sort of range, or even the Echo of Soulwood. Either one's fine. Just make sure that whatever spells you have for projectiles you're gonna be comfortable with those, and we can start getting ready to press forward. In terms of our amulets, we're definitely gonna want to have the Lifesteal Pendant, anything that's going to increase our attack power. In this instance, we are using the Lashing Whip, which is a great weapon, as well as the axe, and the Twin Infant Pendant, which is going to be great for recovery speed. So we're in good shape there. Right now, at this point in time, the embroidered set is going to provide us with the best frost resistance, I guess currently. However, there will be a set we're going to pick up and we're going to actually beeline towards. It's going to give us even better resistances. So technically, if you really wanted to, you could change it out for, you could change out your your embroidered headband for your Zhenwu hairpin, which is going to give you some slightly better frostbite resistance, but not entirely necessary. So we're just going to stick with what we have for now, and we're going to begin pressing forward. So now let's go ahead and speak with Wukong. We'll be chatting with him several times throughout this run.
Got some new stuff for you.
There's really nothing to say unless you want to maybe pick up some additional items. He will also be selling soups, so if you're just one of those individuals who likes to spam the soup because you're kind of concerned about it, don't feel ashamed or anything. It's perfectly fine. So he sells it for 100, so that's really one of the most important items he's going to sell for this particular area. So now we're going to go into the area proper. We can go ahead and use one of our soups. We're going to be circling back around to the right, ignoring the cuckoo for now. And there'll be this broken bridge area that we can go ahead and grab an item from. This is just on the other side of the archer. The very first archer enemy that we defeated in the last episode. He's one of the rebel type enemies that we're going to be facing off with pretty consistently from this point forward. So now at this point, if you want, you can go ahead and take out the cuckoo. We're going to grab the item next to the old bird right here. And then we're going to come this way. Now keep in mind that yes, there is a pathway and a door right there. We're going to come back for that though. And it's because there's lots of items here that we can benefit from, so we're going to head this way. And be mindful of any time you ever see bodies like that, they will be dropping down just like we saw in the previous area. So let's go ahead and take out this enemy really quickly with a 2-hit combo. We're going to use the Flying Dagger to take out the cuckoo. And these here are mines. These will actually explode when you trip them, and they typically cause you to either fall back or just pretty much interrupt whatever you're doing, so be careful. They have been nerfed significantly since launch, and now they're a little more than bee stings, but they're still pretty annoying, so trigger that body to go ahead and fall, and then avoid this mine here. We're going to make a sharp left, or you can go around if you want, and we're going to speak to this kind of tomb area here. So when we exhaust the dialogue for this tomb, this NPC is going to give us a vitality bolt and mention that there is someone that is in a gang called the Yonder Gang by the name of Matchstick. So we're going to be looking and keeping an ear out, an eye out for that particular NPC. We're going to circle back around and go towards this bridge. And then we're going to make a sharp left. Take out this enemy before they are aware. And then right here, if we read this, it's another gesture puzzle. We can just pay our respects, which is code for worship. Go ahead and execute and use the worship gesture. And we'll be getting some soul grass for our troubles. It's a longer gesture, but we'll go ahead and get that. We can rush this enemy down here. And then we're out of the elements for a period of time. So if you look at the bottom left of the screen, you can see this golden kind of symbol. That golden symbol is the soup. So that's the soup right there. The red symbol just means I have some increased attack power. So that's from my benedictions, not for anything else. So right now we're going to be going into this cavern that leads to Mort Grotto, which is an area that we're going to do at the very end. But the reason why we're tackling it so early is because it has some great stuff inside. So we're going to rush this enemy. Make sure you have the lashing whip. The reason for that is the extended range of the weapon can reach those crystals, and those crystals deal despair damage. Remember that if you get afflicted with despair, you will instantly die. So what we're going to do here, though, is we are going to switch over to our axe, and once we grab this item, we're going to sprint down and apply our temperament. There will be a tree enemy. We're going to be passing this item to the right. But once we rush this tree enemy right here, we're going to go for a potential plunge attack that we miss, and that's okay. Stick behind this enemy, go for the stagger. Use your weapon ability when you can. And remember, the fire temperance is incredibly powerful against these enemies because it can consistently stagger them and prevent them from countering us. So now with that tree enemy defeated, we're going to grab this item, which is the fire bombs. You could certainly try and use those, but the tree enemy does have many ways to attack you from afar, so I would prefer just to kind of be up close and personal to take it out. So here we have some more despair crystals. If we turn to the right, there's going to be kind of a slew of enemies. We're going to be taking them out in a much more strategic manner, though. There's all kinds of threats in this area, and some that never end if you don't take it out in the right way. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how to kind of trivialize this particular area and get access to a really excellent set for this area. So go to the left to grab this item right here, and then there's going to be about 4 or 5 of the feathered enemies. You could throw a firebomb, that works perfectly fine, but instead, honestly, you have the lashing whip. This can take out just about anybody that's around you in the vicinity anyways, with relative ease. So now we can go ahead and pick up all these items at our leisure, no rush. We're going to switch over to our our feathering, flying dagger, to kill the cuckoo for the arm feather. That is a lot of words. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look down here. So right now we don't need the soup. We're going to drop the soup for just a moment. We are inside, it's warm in here. And we're going to grab the fire pots. If you take a look, we're going to go look down and around. We have a red eye enemy down there next to some fire pots. We have a handful of enemies next to despair crystal. And if we look up, we have an ambush for a casket enemy or a coffin enemy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out the biggest threats first. So this works 9 times out of 10. So if you are locked onto this enemy, you can simply throw a fire pot. This should kill him in 1 hit. That triggers this guy, which is unfortunate, but what we want to do is go all the way to the far right, throw this pot, and that'll destroy everybody there. Now, you're able to destroy this enemy next, and then watch for the, if you don't have enough, that's perfectly fine. You can watch for the coffin enemy because he's going to spew some stuff. He's not a big threat, so no worries. We didn't get to take him out. Not a big deal. He's just kind of a jerk. We can switch back to our soups. We're not really going to need any more of these for now, so the soup will be just fine. And we're going to come down here. There's a drummer down there that thinks he's a genius, but he's out of range of everybody, so we really can't do anything, so it's not a worry at all. Release this ladder. We are going to rush him just because he's annoying. Get away from him because he does have an explosion. And what we're going to do is, because this enemy can attack us from this angle, we can rush here, use the lashing whip to take him out, dodge, come behind this enemy, and then we can use our weapon or a magic ability, Echo of Jutanga, if we want. Lovely. We can grab these items that they were protecting, make sure to take out the despair crystals, and then on the other side of this is going to be a centipede that drops down. Take out the centipede before it can do us any harm, and then we're going to pick up all these goodies right here. And now we're safe. We're just pretty much on the other side of that ladder. So we've taken out this area, cleared it out. There's absolutely no threat whatsoever at this point. And what we can do, if you want, is we can take a look at the armor set that we just picked up from that red eye enemy that of course gave us a red mercury essence, but they also gave us the overseer set. So the overseer set has an incredible amount of frostbite resistance. It's not bad to have. Honestly, it's pretty decent. You can wear it through this particular area to kind of mitigate your frostbite buildup. So it's the overseer garb, and it looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. I tend to typically wear it with one of the boss sets, Lu Hong Liu's helmet, because it looks so nice. But now we have a really good amount of the frostbite resistance. We can go ahead and take out these enemies. We're going to grab all these items here, of course, and keep in mind that we do need to prioritize the destruction of the despair crystals. So there you go. And then we have one other enemy right here. Go. All the despair crystals have been taken care of now. We're safe. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come up this lift and we're going to face the way we got on so that we can drop off at a halfway point. There's some goodies that are hidden, so we want to make sure we grab them. So we can drop off there, circle around the scaffolding, and grab this item right here, which is of course some growing red mercury. So the consumable mercury we can use for leveling or for purchasing items, whatever we want. We can drop down here and take minimal fall damage, and the lift should be about done now. We're going to call it down. It's going to come down pretty quickly because the lift speed has been sped up significantly. And now we're going to take the lift all the way up. I want to take it this pathway in particular because I want you to see something. There's going to be an area that we're going to be exploring, but I typically don't go this route just because there's not a lot of goodies, one, and then two, it's really, really dangerous from this angle. So we're going to be taking a much safer angle, and I'll show you how to clear it out a little bit later. But we are going to take this lift up, so not only is it activated, but also I can show you kind of how the level connects. This particular area, in my opinion, is the most difficult to route out because it's so extensive and there's so many optional areas that all interconnect. So there's so many areas that you can reach from different entrances and all that. So aggro this enemy first. Don't go any further because if you do, you'll aggro the archer. He's got tons of poise and tenacity, as it's called in this game, so just be careful. We're going to rush this enemy. There is a third enemy to the right, but we're going to rush this one first. Go for the weapon ability there. Weapon ability again because there's an enemy behind us, and that'll take out both of those threats. We're going to grab the steamed bunny buns, and then we're going to come out of this little cavern or exit or entrance, if you will, and we're going to use this mechanism to drop the bridge. This is the area just above where we were speaking with the tomb, and we had avoided that mine and the body that dropped down. You could go up this pathway, but it essentially takes you straight to a shrine where you're going to be kind of in the midst of a lot of chaos. Instead, we want to go a much safer route, and we can explore all of this in due time. But right now, it's just not the point. It's not the time to do it yet. So if you want, you could always press forward and grab the goodies. It's just not necessary. We're going to come back for it, and we are going to explore all of this area when it's safer. But instead of going from the bottom of the cliff or mountain to the top, we're going to go from the top to the bottom, and that way we can get the drop on nearly all of the enemies. Otherwise, you're going to be kind of going uphill, and there are some archers that have good vantage points, and they're just going to really, really pester you and be able to do lots of damage from afar. So we want to avoid that. And honestly, there's no rush because, as I said, and I've kind of reiterated multiple times that we're not going to be missing anything in this episode, not a single item. So don't you worry, we're going to get it all. There's a really nice way the area connects anyway, so you'll see what I'm talking about. But anyway, so now from here, from the lift, we're going to make a right. And this is going to eventually let out to an area called Mort Grotto. And there's a shrine down here as well. But before we get to it, let's actually kill all the enemies out here first. Destroy the despair crystals. If your despair level gets too high, do not be ashamed or afraid to use a the Mind Lotus seed. I forgot what it was called. Gosh. Good gosh. Okay, so if you want, you can have it equipped since we're indoors. It's right next to our soup anyways. Again, not largely necessary, but it's certainly great to have if you're in a pickle and if that despair just keeps coming up. Because remember, if you get afflicted with despair, you will die. So, alright, so we're going to take out this enemy here. He's pretty tanky, one of the stronger feathered enemies. But since we can stagger him like crazy, we're going to go ahead and press forward. And we're going to exit this cave. This is going to be an item we can give to Wukong. And this is kind of why we take this route. Let's go ahead and take out this cuckoo right here. And then we can... if we pressed forward, that's Mort Grotto. But this is going to be the shrine for Mort Grotto. Always check to make sure that it's not a mimic. It has the instrument. It says to offer blood. It looks like we're safe. And you may have noticed this kind of golden symbol here. That essentially means that you can't take fall damage if you drop into that from up above. So we'll be kind of understanding and testing that out and see if that really works, right? But trust me, it does. So we can go ahead and apply some points here, look into the red mercury. Honestly, one of the things we might want to look into is getting this here, which is going to ensure that we don't get any reduced stacks below 3 if we have at least 90% madness. Not a bad thing to have. Let's see if there's anything else that we could potentially benefit from. Not that I can immediately see anyways. We could always bump up some strength, which we have these nodes right here. And how's our longsword looking though? Let's see. Yeah, I say we maybe go for some additional strength. Why not? So we're going to come up here and grab these strength nodes. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and teleport back to the Snowy Passage. We will be actually going through Mort Grotto at the very end of this episode because it leads to a certain area that's going to essentially take us right in front of the next kind of boss. It is an optional boss, and if you skip it, there's some pretty interesting interactions. We'll be going over that in due time though. But let's go ahead and, since that counts as a rest, just so you know, that does count as a full rest. We can go ahead and equip our soup again, and we can speak to Wukong and hand over the oil lamp that we just picked up. Exhaust his dialogue, and then now we have some more goodies available for purchase. So, not bad. We got some additional items that we can pick up from him now. What we're going to do this time is we're going to go straight. And we're going to open up this big gate here. Remember that you can, we just actually came from this area, so you could technically reach the back side of this from a whole nother angle, but this is probably the most direct and efficient way to do it. So I would really and strongly suggest going this way instead. Take out this dog just in case he aggros. And if you can see from afar, you have these, like this individual here that's super annoying. He's the one that's going to pester you from all the different angles. So what I tend to do is I like to, let's go ahead and take a soup really quickly. We're now going to change this back to the fire pots, which are right here. And then we're going to come this way, and then we're going to aggro these enemies that are talking right over here. You typically don't have to move too much further. I don't know why they're not paying attention now. Hello, gentlemen. Gentlemen. There you go. They typically aggro from a mile away, so that was really odd. We want to take them out from over here because we don't want to aggro the archer. We want to get some free shots on that archer. Don't forget to use your weapon ability to completely nullify any of those little fancy moves they're trying to do. We're going to come over here and just be very careful, very quiet. Throw your fire pots at him and just spam like crazy, okay? Even the explosion will cause him to get knocked back, and he can potentially even fall down and fall to his death, which is ideal. Of course, he didn't do it because we're recording, because why would he? but now he's dead. We can grab the item that these guys were protecting, and then we're going to come down here. So essentially now we have a nice safe area to explore. It's super annoying otherwise, because he is a crack shot. This archer will hit you from every single angle possible. We got those guys down there. Let's see if they're smart enough to actually come up this way. I doubt it, but if they don't, we'll go down to them, or if not, we'll meet them face to face either way. So come up this ladder and grab this item. And we're going to go back down. Since they're taking forever, they're just kind of staring at us. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the soups. We won't be needing the fire pots anymore. And we can come down here if we want, get a nice little angle, separate them out. Okay, we got one down. We got the other guy with the axe coming our way. Weapon ability, and then he's down. Now we can safely grab this item. Essentially, a lot of people rush towards this item and then you get sniped by that guy and you die. And it's really sad and you feel dumb. And it's fine, because that happens. Happens to the best of us. But in this guide, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm going to show you the best way to nullify all that madness. Alright, so now what we can do is we can turn left. This is the main gate. We're going to make a sharp left, and we're going to see Huang Jian-yi. We're going to want to exhaust her dialogue when she's done cursing those rebels.
The glory just beyond that.
So we need to agree to help, and she's going to give us the Zhenwu tome as well as a recovery pill. So make sure her dialogue's exhausted, and then we can grab this item behind her. We're going to need to speak with an individual who is a treasurer by the name of Li Wansan, and we'll meet him after we defeat both the bosses in this area and move past as we're approaching the new area, the final boss of this entire region. So instead for now, we're just going to take out the two bosses here. We're going to speak with her, exhaust her dialogue, and just move forward. So, alright, so here we have a cuckoo. Go ahead and take him out with a well-placed dagger. And then we're going to take out these doggos right here. Pick up the item that they're guarding, which is Steam Bunny Bun. And then we have a rebel that's kind of just seated right here. If you can get the backstab, more power to you. Go ahead and execute the obliteration. Pick up the item he's guarding, and then we're going to see a kind of series of enemies fighting. But before we go and rush the steps, we want to grab this item right here. If you overhear them, you hear that these enemies keep respawning, and there's a reason for that. We're going to disable that and make sure we don't have to deal with that threat. And that's why I'm showing you exactly how to clear out this area in this particular way, because if you don't, the enemies will continue to respawn and you'll never get a moment of respite. So instead, from right here, when you see this kind of barricade, we're going to turn right here, make a sharp right, and take out this sleeping enemy before they become a threat. There's a second enemy right over here. We can take him out too. And then when we rush over to this side, sometimes these enemies will aggro and they're going to jump at us from like a mile away, so just lock onto him. He will probably do it. When he crosses his arms, if you did it correctly, unlike I did, you'll be able to avoid that damage there. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and heal since we're all jacked up. And we're going to come aggro this guy, rush over here, come to this area, and you want him to kind of trigger that mine that's right in front of us. So as soon as he triggers the mine, just back up. It's got a hell of a radius on it. There you go. Get behind him. He's going to spam for a little bit. That's fine. We're going to go for the obliteration here. Since we couldn't get the backstab, and we're going to finish him off. Now we can take out this enemy quickly, though, because there is an exploder enemy right here. So watch for the arms to cross, and then go ahead and back away. We're going to take out this enemy, and then I'm going to show you guys this ladder. I want you guys to keep that in mind. There's a ladder next to the shack. I'm going to show you the other side and how we need to approach that. We'll never use this ladder. It's completely unnecessary. So what we want to do is go inside here now, open up this chest, and then we can get an upgrade for our mana vase. And then if you look over this cliff here, This is the gate that we killed the cuckoo on. The dogs are over there, and that's where we just backstabbed the rebel. So, putting all the level together for you. We're going to start sweeping this area kind of one section at a time. So barricade number 2, we're going to make a right. Watch for any sleeping enemies, of course, and any trip mines, which are pretty much everywhere. They're pretty easy to see now with the new patch. They're pretty much impossible to miss unless you're just like in the heat of battle, but there's one right there. You didn't see it. Watch me get exploded by one. That would be pretty funny. They're impossible to miss. Boom! But anyways, we're going to go here. There's the mine. And then I'm going to make my way up. One more section. And we have another exploder. We'll go ahead and aggro him, wait for him to cross his arms, dash away. We can pick up this item right here. And then remember I told you guys that the ladder is useless. Well, the ladder is just going to lead us right here. So that ladder from down below is right there. We're going to stop at this little guy though, and we're going to turn back around. We've got some items and areas to clear, so we're going to do that first. Our soup is about halfway expended, so we're going to continue for now. It looks fine. We can keep pressing forward. First thing you want to do is trigger this to get everybody aggroed. You're going to kill this guy as quickly as possible. Come back around and just stand and wait and watch the show. We've got a handful of feathering enemies. We have some big back. We've got all kinds of brothers just waiting to get destroyed. And as soon as they press any further, we're going to try and make sure they get hurt as much as possible. So if he does do that, just make sure you dodge, dodge, dodge. Yeah, you're good to go. Now we can go use our weapon ability. Nearly everybody's dead now. We just pretty much have a 1v1. Whereas before it would have been much worse than that. So go for the backstab pretty aggressively with this guy. Knocked him above the asset. That's kind of crazy. All over the assets here. Usually he would have stayed right there, but that's fine. We took him out. He's now no longer a threat. So just keep in mind that we were just in this area. We're going to be circling around and get to the other side of this, but there aren't any items here. Instead, if you just stick to the main path where that we had been following this entire time, we're going to grab these 2 items that are over here, way over in this side. This is an empty kind of home, nothing in the yard here. We're going to be coming over and speaking with this NPC. Kind of gives us a warning, like, hey, be careful kind of thing. And we're going to be working our way towards activating the first tower, essentially deactivating the spire that is bringing up the enemy. So what we want to do is aggro this enemy using anything possible. If you don't have any Skyborn Might, you can certainly use anything like a flying dagger or whatever you feel most comfortable with. The reason why we rushed here is because there's an enemy that can pretty much destroy us with his arrow. So an archer that we can't attack, but he can attack us. Really, really annoying. You don't want to waste any resources on him though. But once he goes ahead and fires a shot, we're going to sprint. And we're going to watch for that mine right there. What we're going to be doing is rushing to the left, right at that little candle. And then there should be a puppy dog here that's trying to destroy us. And then we'll have another individual that has a shield that's probably going to aggro as well. So he's right over here. He'll get smart enough, typically, to attack us. But naturally I'm recording, so he wants to be an idiot. And that's fine. There he is. There's life in him yet. So we're going to go here. And keep in mind that we passed an open door. We're going to be using that in due time. But right now, we just need to clear out this area. It's not safe. And there's an archer out there that we need to prioritize and take out. So make a sharp left here, another left, and we're going to rush inside for cover. Now we can pick up this item, and we're going to come up this ladder. And just keep note that we are heading towards where the second tower would be that we need to light, but instead we're going to be dropping down onto the roof because we've yet to light the first tower. And you might be saying, what tower are you talking about? This is one of the towers, one of 3 towers in the area. So let's go ahead and rush this enemy. R1, R1, and then weapon ability right here. Okay. And then as we make our way down, if you drop down this way, you're likely going to get stuck in the assets right here, so it's kind of awkward. What I like to do is just kind of pull them over here, and you can drop down and do a plunge on them. Otherwise, you're probably going to miss. And if they're going to be too, kind of a little too stingy about it, it's not too big a deal, but There you go. We got one, so we'll go ahead and go for the obliteration there. And then we'll take him out next. Weapon ability, there you go. We'll see whatever he gave us. Looks like a red mercury sprout, very nice. And then we're going to grab this item here that is a fixed item that's by the campfire. Now, we can finally safely explore things. And this would have been a little trap that you could jingle, aggro everybody and get shot and everybody's just angry at you, but we don't want to do that. Instead, we're going to circle around here. We're going to throw a dagger at the cuckoo, and then we're going to make our way up. So we're going to grab this item, and yes, I haven't forgotten this area right here. We're going to be coming back to it though. Doesn't make sense to go down it right now, so we're going to take this ladder up really quickly, and then we're going to go ahead and clear it. No enemies here to worry about. We were just in that courtyard, taking out the big back and all the others. We're going to be exploring each and every one of these houses. This is the tower or spire that is kind of summoning those exploding enemies endlessly. Because of the path that I've directed you to and that we've taken, you have not had to experience hardly any at all. But if you would have just stormed this area or gone up that pathway, you see where my head's at right there, you could come up from that angle and you would have been surrounded by exploding enemies that never stop spawning. So because of the path I've guided you on, you not having to worry about that at all. Anyways, we can come down here, circle around behind them, and with the lashing whip, you have the range and the ability to take both of them out really quickly. We're going to grab all the items right here, go up this ladder, and we're going to continue kind of working our way up the spire, one level at a time. By the end of this episode, we're going to be lighting all 3 towers, destroying all of those spires that spawn the sploders, and we're going to be good to go. So make a sharp right there. You might see the release ladder that we're going to have that's going to serve as a shortcut to take us right to the entrance. We'll be using those several times. And now we can speak with Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun is very long-winded in this particular encounter. He's kind of, at this point, we can see losing his mind, fighting amongst himself, if you will. And we're going to see why later on in the series, but essentially, you know, he's also kind of conflicted in a way. His path and what his decisions were and how he was able to, his true identity essentially is tied to his kind of obsession and his problems. All this game has to do with essentially obsessions and overcoming them and finding acceptance, you know, and he's a prime example of this. He also gives us some information about additional beacons. He says 2 beacons. I wish he would have said 3 because I didn't know he was excluding this beacon that we're currently on. So we do need to light 3 beacons, and there'll be another hint of why this is and how many we actually have. So we have the advantage here, so let's go ahead and use our lashing whip. Let's not die here, that'd be embarrassing. And let's go ahead and take him out. So once we take out those enemies, we can grab this item on the ledge. Be very careful. And for this instance, I am going to show you the full cutscene because I want you to see what happens. But aside from this, we'll be skipping the cutscene. So make sure you open the chest. We get the gunpowder spear, which is one of these spear weapons. And then we can interact with this particular tower or beacon. And when we light the beacon, it destroys the spire that is respawning the sploders. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. We're going to be doing this 2 more times in this episode and completely eradicating the threat of the infinite respawning sploders. So those ropes are, of course, you know, fit with oil or slicked with oil, and now we've burnt that spire. That's 1 of 3. And now what we need to do is go down and explore the area safely. But instead of retracing our steps, we can simply release this ladder right here and go all the way down safely. Now we are going to go inside the area that we've passed because we're getting shot at by that archer. And don't worry, we're going to get our revenge on that archer before long. In due time anyways. So the archer's up there on that cliff, by the way. There's going to be a jar mimic in here, so switch to your Vorpal Blade. Go ahead and trigger some... Oh, lovely. Just go ahead and get hit to lull it into a false sense of security. You can certainly use this little area to your advantage. And you can hit it almost from across the way, so... If you really want to be cheap like me. Now I want to be cheap because she hurt me, so... She kind of embarrassed me on my guide, so... You see the range though, right? It's pretty ridiculous. Go ahead and defeat her. Whatever strategy you like. And then we're going to come out on this balcony and grab this item. Let's go down the ladder here. And we're going to grab this item. We're going to be circling around this little village area where there's a bunch of different homes and houses. The Sploder, sadly, was on this side. He's never on that side. He's actually right here typically, which you can see the snow that he moved on. So he should have been in front of us, and he should not have aggroed. So really strange behavior there, but he should have been coming from there. Instead, he circled around here, got stuck, and exploded out of sight. So that was great. If we make a sharp left, that is the watch out for that mine. There is a shrine here. Make another sharp left though to grab this item really quickly. Go ahead and activate the shrine. If you need to, go ahead and rest there, and you'll just have a short little like series of enemies to deal with. Nothing too crazy. You're more than welcome to rest there if you want. Do some leveling, but what we're gonna do anyways is come this way. So this was the area where, of course, the archers right up there. We then had this empty area, no items, but that's where the big back and the other enemies were. We're gonna come in here and grab this item. We're gonna take a soup, and then we're gonna open this door. If we make our way up the steps, we're going to be greeted by Chao Ying, which this is another part of her quest. And she's kind of a little bit everywhere. Her mind is certainly in a fog. We want to agree to help. She's going to give us the bamboo missive, and we can go ahead and exhaust her dialogue. The bamboo missive, if you read it, it is going to indicate that there was, 3 towers that need to be lit in order to have the drawbridge lowered. So essentially, we drop those 3, and we're down, we can drop the drawbridge and then face off with the enemy. Chao Ying's quest is actually pretty important to this particular area, because if you just rush it and you do not do it in the order that I'm going to show you, you can skip her quest line, and unfortunately you won't be able to give her the white jade dumpling she requires. So this is the other side of that statue we stopped at, the ladder, and then we're going to take out this enemy, take him out quickly, and we have this enemy here, and then we have a Sploder to the left. Cross the arms, we're going to dodge, completely mitigate that threat. And now we pretty much have full life because the life's still pendant. And we can make a sharp left here, open up this chest, and we've now explored everything in this particular area. We get the benediction called rejuvenation, so when we obliterate enemies, you can get health back. And that, tied with your life steal, tied with everything else, gets pretty beefy. So you get lots of life regen. Go for a 3-hit combo, or if you need it, just keep spamming, keep him kind of on his toes, if you will. Gonna grab this item here, go to the table, grab the second item, and then we're gonna knock on the door. Essentially, they just keep saying, hey, these people and the dead keep rising over and over and over again, but not anymore because we've burnt down this spire. If you make a right here, there's actually nothing here except an ambush, so it's super annoying, but I do it anyway. So here we go, we're gonna watch him. There's nothing here, and that's so disappointing because I thought there'd be something at least in these pots or jars or something, but there's not. Watch the mine, of course, and in retrospect they're easy to see, but trust me, if you get blown up by them, don't be ashamed. They used to be much harder to see, and then they don't do much damage anyways now. So alright, so from here, what we can do if you want is if you need to go ahead and take a break and get some health back, you certainly can do that. And get your mana vases. We're gonna go this way. And this is the path that we could have taken from essentially the first drawbridge we lowered and gone all the way up and made a beeline straight to that shrine. But you would have been surrounded by Sploders and everything that just respawns, so it would have been a really, really bad spot. So instead, we didn't even have to deal with that threat at all. We're gonna go this way instead. And we're gonna take out these enemies. Get all that health back. Every time we kill an enemy, we're just getting health. See if they dropped us any goodies. Looks like they didn't. What jerks. And then you could drop down this ladder You're not going to be able to get... You can aggro him if you like, and then go ahead and try and get the plunge, but he's a ranged enemy, so he's like, he's probably going to attack from a mile away, just like so. So I don't advise doing that because he's kind of a jerk. So if you have the Skyborn Might, though, you can go ahead and risk it. Not the end of the world. But you want to go ahead and rush this guy. Get the backstab, obliteration, whatever we need. Just keep spamming your R1 and weapon ability every chance you get, and then we're gonna get the Brilliant Red Feather and some Red Mercury Essence. You could simply have gone down the path. There's really no strategic benefit to coming this way, but I was just showing you like, hey, you can see the Red Mercury Essence guy. Now, just so that you know, we are going to be dropping down here, but if you go and collect that item, you're gonna fall all the way down to the entrance of Mort Grotto. Just want to show you where we're at, so we can connect and, you know, kind of tie together the entire area. So you could go down there. There's going to be mines and things like that. We've got these enemies here. You can essentially just kind of circle and weave through. This is the steps that lead straight to the shrine. So you can go down here. Like I said before, you're not really missing out on anything here. This is just a way to get to that red eye enemy. So that's the path we could have just dropped down. Remember, no items. It's just kind of an empty area here with a handful of enemies that are pretty easy to take out. Really, it's just a place to get some Red Mercury Essence. Nothing too crazy, but everything that looks like a body or a corpse is going to be an enemy that can wake up. So just go ahead and take out all of these enemies, and now we're at least attacking them from behind. Makes it really easy. And now, guess what? We have come full circle to the area where we first let down the drawbridge. So I wanted to show you that. Essentially, if you would have just crossed over, you can grab the 1, 2, 3 items right here, and those enemies will be fighting. This is an enemy drop, so it's not a guaranteed item. But anyways, had we gone down there, that's going to be the area where we spoke with the NPC in the tomb, so hopefully that's putting all this level together for you. So that is the overall kind of makeup of this particular area. Like I said, nothing too special. What we're going to be doing is, if you can see, there's a glow there. That glow is from the area that nullifies fall damage. So what we're going to be doing is retracing our steps. We're going to go all the way straight up this path, and we're going to go to the area that had the ladder and the red eye enemy. So we don't want to go all the way back up because this is where the ladder is. You can just go right here. And you want to go to where you see tents, avoid the mine, and then make your way this way straight through the tents where the red eye enemy was. And then we're going to go to that ledge. Anytime you see kind of like a dilapidated ledge or a nest type area, that means that there's going to be a drop down. So when you get here, quickly just mash X to ensure you grab the item. And then once you grab it, you're going to drop down. Now that nullified all of our fall damage, so we're safe, we're good to go. Nothing can hurt us now. And what we're going to be doing is teleporting back to the first spire that we were at. So we can go to teleport, and then I'm going to go to Cloud Spire Outskirts. So that's just kind of an interesting little circle you can do. If, you know, again, the order in which you do this area is completely up to you, but if you do it in this particular order, you're going to kind of get rid of lots of annoyances that can truly, truly sour the experience, in my opinion. So you can go ahead and pop a soup if you want. And now we have everything else replenished. The enemies will have respawned, so watch for the mine. This is where that dummy should have been. But for whatever reason, he aggroed and then hid behind the corner, which he never does. Watch for his arms to cross and go ahead and nullify that threat. Sadly, the archer and some of the other enemies will be up here, but I'll show you the path I typically take to just bypass all of those threats. So we're going to sprint out here and then make a sharp right. And then we're going to bypass this, dodge when you need to. There you go. And then we're going to come up here and take the ladder. When we take the ladder, don't go anywhere. You don't need to drop back down. Just go straight. But watch for the mines because they're going to be just about everywhere. And enemies are going to start spawning. So just sprint past all of this. Trust me, we're not bypassing anything. You can grab this item right here though if you like. And then sprint, sprint, sprint. There's a cuckoo, but don't worry about him yet. Get off this path and make a sharp right here. You're going to take out this enemy and look behind and make sure nobody's pursuing you. a boulder will come all the way down and pretty much to this point, so you can get jacked up if you're not paying attention or being careful. So, if you want, and if you're impatient like myself, you can take out this cuckoo. And instead of going up this path, we're going to go right up this ladder here. And this, we're pretty much taking a beeline to the second tower, because if you go and you try and explore, you're going to be surrounded by sploders, but I'm going to save you that headache, and you never have to deal with that. So take out cuckoo number 2. We're going to take out this body here that will actually aggro, and then we're going to wait for him to cross his arms, dodge, and completely nullify that threat there. Pick up whatever he gave us. We're going to come this way, and then we're going to be careful. Keep our back to this right here. We're going to lock on to this enemy. Cross his arms. We're going to dash backwards, and we're good to go. Just so you know, you could see an enemy down there. He's just right there. You can actually hit him with the lashing whip. So you take him out, you don't have to worry about that. Kind of a fun little thing. The lashing whip is pretty broken. So now we killed the enemy that was right next to that. We can grab this item, and then we're going to continue working our way up. We want to take out this guy right here. And then as we work our way outside, be careful because there's going to be an enemy. Oh, I guess he's not here right now. That's weird. And we have patched him out. There's typically an axe enemy there. No worries. We're going to make our way to the top of the tower. And we'll be sure to take out any threats up here. This instance, we do have a tougher enemy. It's a red-eye spear enemy, so we got to be very careful with him. So what we're going to do is just make sure we get the aggro, wait for him to attack, and then we're going to try and get a backstab. So there you go. Go for the backstab if we're able to. And then this should knock him off entirely. And then he's dead. We'll get the brilliant red feather for our troubles and a red mercury essence. We're now going to rush towards the chest, get another upgrade for our mana vase. And then we can activate this spire here. This beacon is going to actually light the other spire down below. And we won't be able to, well, essentially the enemies won't be able to spawn anymore. So, alright, so now we can come this way. And always look to the corner because sometimes there's ambushes. They must have kept it to where it's only on the 3rd tower now, because we used to have an ambush essentially at near every area like this. So let's take the shortcut ladder all the way down. And now we'll take this second ladder, and then we're right at the entrance where we first kind of storm the tower. Just so that you know, we are going to be circling around this entire area and exploring everything possible. But if we go this path, we're going to be accosted by a bunch of cannonballs. If we go this route, we're skipping a bunch of content. So instead, we're going to go up this pathway where the boulder was. If you have needed to if you died for whatever reason, or if you need to go back and get health, the boulder will start attacking you or whenever you get to the steps. So just rush off to the side and you'll be safe. These enemies will typically already be damaged because they got hit by the boulder. And then you have another enemy up there that's armed, but be careful because those bodies right there are going to fall down on you. So just kind of have the enemy aggro to you. That way you don't have to worry about an enemy falling on your head. Let him spin, do his little fancy stuff, and then he's dead. Let the bodies kind of fall, let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor, like the song. And then up to the right, we have this. And that's it for this particular area. We're going to circle around and take out some dogs. Our soup is getting lower, so we can go ahead and re-up it. And there's a dog immediately to our left. We want to take him out first. 2-hit combo. This dog will aggro. Remember, it's 3 hits for them, so 1, 2, 3. And then we can go ahead and hit him with a 2-hit combo. If you just rush to the item that's on that rock there, this enemy is going to ambush you, so instead, rush to that with knowledge. There you go. With knowledge that you're going to be ambushed. Grab this item on the rock and take this path towards the houses and the bandits. Do not move too far ahead. Don't move beyond that crevice there. Like, just stay right here. Instead, come right up this pathway. Take out this enemy that's kind of harassing the neighbors here. And then you can go ahead and knock on the door and speak with this NPC.
Escape my neighbors, this village.
They're essentially just kind of fearing for their lives, as they should, because it's a scary time. Scary time to be alive. And what we want to do here is we want to go ahead and use our temperance. We're going to rush this enemy, lock on, dash as many times as we need to, get the backstab, go for the obliteration, and then we're going to spam while he's down and completely nullify that threat. We take out this unique enemy and we get the Dark Frost Flames. This is going to prove incredibly useful later on. This is a spell that we can use for one of the toughest bosses in the game. It's essentially a frost variant of the Infernal Flames. So it's the Dark Frost Flames. So now what we want to do is we want to quit backstepping and we want to come this way. Alright. I like to use the Lu Bingjiang's spear here, especially since we're going to be facing off with an inner demon. So watch for this body to fall here. And then there's two mines. There's one mine there and one mine there. We want to use these mines to our benefit. So let's go ahead and see if we can manifest the demon. And we're going to see if we can trigger this enemy to touch the mines. Which of course she didn't. Because why not, right? The feathering spells are quite potent against her, so what we can do is when she's so far away, she does have a ranged attack now, we can have her trigger these mines, and then once she's down, we can go for our weapon ability, further trigger her to stun, and get staggered. That's okay. Now she's weak, but guess what? We have another mine, so we can just use this to our advantage, have her kind of trigger this. If she starts doing combos, she's going to do a ranged attack, so just be careful. As soon as you see her trigger, just dodge to get the iframes as well. Looks like she got some iframes too, that's no fun. Use the Lashing Whip's range to our advantage. And then we can take her out. She gives us the Bow Blood and a Stone Needle. She's pretty nasty there. Honestly, it was unfortunate that we were unable to capitalize on her when she was nearly dead, but if you feel more comfortable with the axe, you can certainly do that, and that staggers her like crazy, so pretty fun. Either way, you can, kind of choose how you want to handle that battle. But what we're going to do is we're going to pick up some of these shells here. They're shrapnel bombs. We're going to actually use them to attack these enemies from behind, so we are now getting the drop on them. These enemies would have been incredibly annoying, and they would have been attacking us the entire time, so instead we're just going to spam as much as we can, and we should be able to take them out with at least 3 or 4 of these bombs. So now both of those enemies are dead, and naturally the game is frozen because I'm recording. And then we're going to make a sharp right over here. No items here, and this house is empty. This house is going to be used much later, only if you had a variation to a quest that we're going to be doing correctly in the most efficient way, so you'll never have to worry about it. So instead, take out the enemy. That's a revenge for us having to get shot at from this angle. Remember, that's the enemy we aggroed. We went in there to fight the Jar Demon, and we lit that first tower, so we've come full circle. Now we come back around, and we're going to go straight towards this house and take care of the, the residents. Kill that enemy. We can pick up the item, speak to the NPC. He's just saying, please, let us go, show some mercy. It's because those rebels are quite the jerks. We're going to grab this item over here, and just so you know, this is an open courtyard with absolutely nothing at all. So now we can circle back around towards the other cannon, and we can fire the cannon. We have 5 shots total, so we've used 3. We can now shoot again if we are able to, and then we can pick up more ammo and just keep shooting because it's really fun. Oh no, don't hide. No, they lost their aggro. They're like, you know what, we're bored, so that's fine. No worries, we got our fun though, right? So be careful because there are going to be bodies here that trigger mines. So we're going to be safely coming back through this pathway and no longer concerned with getting shot in the back. Or shot in the face, I should say, with cannons. So now we're good. Make sure we watch for the bodies that are dropping. There's another set of bodies that are going to drop up here as well. Don't move up too much further because this is going to trigger a trap mine. Or a trip mine, I guess. Use your weapon ability. Take everybody out. Pick up all the goodies they left behind. And then watch for that mine. There's going to be more bodies up there. Don't move up too quickly. I noticed that if you just kind of Sneak up here, you're going to be just fine. Now we can go where the body fell. That way if that body falls and triggers the mine, it doesn't matter. Because that has happened before, and that's pretty sucky. If you weren't brave enough to grab this item on the way up, that's perfectly fine. You can do it now. And then we can also grab this item right here. I did want to show you that this area is empty. There's nothing to be concerned about. You're not missing anything there. And then this is where the tree where the cuckoo was at, and that's the first tower that we lit, or I'm sorry, the second tower we lit. When we first got here is what I meant to say. And then now we can come this way. We're going to be making our way towards the third tower. So we can rush this enemy over here. Running R1 and then another R1 to finish him off. We can grab this item. Grab this item here, and then we can kill the cuckoo. We're going to open up this gate. And then we're going to have a fork in the pathway here. We can either go left or right. We definitely want to go left first though, because there's a cannon guy there and he's going to be an absolute nuisance if we don't take him out first. So we're going to come up here, bypass this item for now, and you can get the backstab, or you can try and go for whatever you want. He's not a very strong enemy. You can just R1 spam him as well. And there's really no need to shoot. It's not going to accomplish anything. If he was shooting though, it's going to be incredibly effective and suck. So anyways, you can only ever pick up 5 at a time. For whatever reason, you can't pick up 1 if you had 4 or anything like that. That's pretty silly, but we're going to grab this item. There's nothing else on the other side of the building. And then depending on who we aggro first, we're either going to attack that dog or we're going to attack this guy. So this guy first. And then we're going to rush over here and attack this guy next. And we're in great shape. So those were the 2 enemies we need to defeat that are most problematic. We can take the item that he's going to give us, and then once this guy aggroes, let him come to you, because there is an enemy to the right of us that's going to try and get an ambush shot. So let's go ahead and let him do his thing. Get our weapon ability off, just completely nullify that entire encounter. And then we do have a red-eye enemy, so you can use your lashing whip or your axe, whatever you like. So just kind of rush this enemy. He's going to shoot after he breaks the boxes. We're going to go behind him if we can, get the backstab. We missed the backstab, that's okay. Now we need to back away and heal. Go for the backstab again. And then we're going to go ahead and punish the obliteration here. Go for the R1 spam while he's down, and then use our weapon ability and he's dead. That's a red-eye enemy that is guarding a chest that has a set of dual blades in it. So we're now going to grab the twin bandits, which are really fun dual blades, and then we get the budding red mercury. We're going to be rushing that third tower right up there, but before we do that, we're going to circle around this way and take out this little bamboozler that always likes to run away. So rush him, take him out. Now we get a bamboo shoot for our troubles. Remember, there's 20 of them total. If you feel like you don't have enough health or anything, what you can do is you can come down here and say you're struggling for mana vases, or you're just in need of some a shrine. You can go ahead and pick up these items. Remember, these enemies are not hostile. And then there's nobody back here, nothing back there. There's just 2 humans that are pretty much, they're just the people that have been captured, so villagers. And then we have this door we can open right here. This is going to be the other side of the wooden door that's next to the shrine. So as we open up this door here, we now have direct access to the shrine. So the shrine's right here. So if you need to re-up, you can certainly do that. This is a benediction door. There are 7 benediction doors in total, and you need all 7 of them to unlock an achievement. So I'm going to show you how to unlock all 7, of course, but the 7 benediction doors are needed to not only give you some additional benedictions you can get for your weapon, but also they grant you an achievement if you open and unlock all 7. So now what we're going to do is we've got to be very careful. There's a pretty strong enemy up here. Quite annoying. He's killed me more often than I'd like to admit. So I'm not going to admit how many times I've died to him. But what we're going to be doing is baiting a strike here, and then we're going to go for the R1 spam with the axe, because the axe has really good staggers. So wait for him to do a strike, and then we're going to go for 2 strikes here. We're going to go for the weapon ability when we get it, and then R1 spam some more to keep him staggered, and he's completely dead. Very tanky enemy, so just watch your buns there. We're going to come up here, and it's going to say to do a dance with grace. that dance is referring to the water dance. So do the water dance gesture, and keep in mind that it doesn't matter how close you are to the edge, you will not fall off. Or will you? Or will you? You have to find out, huh? We get the red mercury essence for our troubles. And there aren't any items over here, but I do want to show you that this is just more proof that when you see a candle like this and you look around, you're going to see a shortcut ladder somewhere. So there's a ladder all the way up there. That's going to be our shortcut ladder for us here in due time. So we're going to make our way up this ladder here as we're climbing this tower. This is tower number 3. So once we clear all 3 of these towers and relight all the beacons, all of the spires that were respawning the exploders are going to be pretty much destroyed, and then we're going to be able to proceed forward and fight either the general if we wanted to, which would break some quest lines, or we're going to be facing off with Ai Ning-Chi, which is the optional boss in this area. So there's nothing over there. Just wanted to make sure I told you guys that. We're coming this way. Rush inside to avoid the ambush, because you can get knocked off pretty easily. Take this enemy out. Grab the item by this deceased person right here, and then we're going to take this second ladder up. Now from here, instead of going outside immediately, we want to take the ramp up, and we'll see that this enemy's head was being used to sound the drum. We're going to come down and around, make a sharp right, watch for this guy here, which is the axe enemy. Keep him staggered by R1 spam, and then we can circle around, bump into that for just awesome effect, and then climb the ladder. We're going to have an archer enemy up here, and this, before patch 1.5, was absolutely atrocious. You had archer enemies, you had 2 ambushes, and it was pretty nasty. So let him talk his trash, and then we're going to go ahead and just R1 spam him to death. There you go. Easier said than done, I should say. Open up this chest. We're going to grab another benediction, and then we can light the 3rd spire. This is going to lower the drawbridge that's going to lead to the boss fight. So there's 2 cutscenes after this 3rd one, and the drawbridge is lowered. This is actually just directly in front of us. We are not going to fight the general first. Instead, you will be facing off with the Ai Ning-Chi rebel leader first, and it's just better that way, trust me. Make a sharp right here to take out this enemy that's going to ambush us as we grab this shiny right here, and then we're going to drop this ladder down. And keep in mind that if you were to attack and defeat the general first, it would create a situation where Li Wansan, which is an NPC that is directly tied to Huang Jianyi, would become hostile. So he wouldn't give us the item that we need, freely anyways. So we'd have to defeat him, and then we could obtain the item, and instead of giving the Zhen Wu tome to him, or we wouldn't have that opportunity, but you would get his armor. However, we want to make sure that we do keep Huang Jianyi's quest intact, so we're not going to be doing that this particular go around. But we might. I'm trying to think of the best way to really explain it, because essentially there are so many different ways to get all the different quest items available, and there's alternate outcomes and that kind of have like positive endings, or as positive as you can get in a Soulslike, and then that have negative endings, but you still end up typically, for the most part, getting all the items. Whether that be their armor sets or whatever. Watch the mines there. But in this particular instance, it's a little bit of a sensitive issue because I haven't tested every single possible scenario, so it is likely that you could still rush Ai Ning-Chi, but if you, I'm sorry, the general, and instead of Ai Ning-Chi, so the general is just right up here, and what we're going to be doing is going right to the second barricade and grabbing this item and turning back. We want to turn back because we want to go through to the rebel camp next. We don't want to press forward to the general. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you go and rush the general first, if you defeat him, then you will not have the opportunity to obtain the second white jade dumpling from Ai Ning Chi. Although you'll get it, you'll break Chao Ying's quest line. So Chao Ying is the old woman that has been eating the white jade dumplings that thinks we're her son. She kind of goes crazy, but every time we give her the item, right, the white jade dumpling, she kind of regains her senses, right? Consequences of going for the general first and skipping the rebel leader is you break Chao Ying's quest line. If you go for Ai Ning Chi first and then go for the general, then Li Wansan is not hostile, but you won't get his armor. So that is one of the only items that in the game that you have to essentially come back for and do a second playthrough because it's tied directly to Chao Ying's questline. But anyway, so now that we've entered the dream, let's go ahead and use our impetus repository and level up. We've got tons of levels here. So now we can go ahead and juice up a little bit. We're getting all the stacks of Skyborn Might now. We're going to upgrade our vases as much as necessary. And as much as possible, to be honest. We do want the additional temperance charge. Those are always fun to have. And then we can continue kind of, if you want, going into more of stats. Or if you want, you can go into more offensive stats for our weapons. So we can continue kind of going for the strength and then moving forward around here. In either case, the real key is making sure we can level up our weapons. So in this instance, I just saw that we had a perfect tree right here, so we can go here instead and level up our weapons. So a little bit better to do that way. We don't have enough to level up this a second time yet, so we're looking for one more brilliant red feather and we can level up our longsword again. But yeah, it's always kind of a great thing to be able to respec so easily because you can kind of find different opportunities like we did there, and that way you're not just investing points blindly, you're doing it with a little bit more strategy. It's really nice. So now if we go to teleport, we see that there's nothing left for it, so we're fine. What we're going to do now is, since we've already done a handful of things here, essentially clearing out all of these areas, but what we're going to be doing next is, since we've spoken with Chao Ying, lit the 3 thingies, we are going to be going to the benediction door. So I had to look over my notes really quickly. So the benediction doors don't require an answer to a riddle. You just open them using your ancient chisel. So go ahead and open up the benediction door and you automatically get the lethal might benediction. Every time you open a benediction door, you will get a benediction. So grab the feather pearl. We're going to switch back over to our lashing whip weapon because there's going to be more of these despair crystals. Remember, these enemies are kind of annoying, so let's go ahead and take them out quickly. They're more tanky than they need to be, but that's fine. They're not particularly dangerous unless you actually let them use their moveset on you. So here we have these brothers, and we're going to rush as many as we can, take them out. There you go, completely nullify that threat there. And then what we can do is we're going to switch over to our fire temperance. But you know what? I misspoke. Let's not do that yet because we have these despair crystals. So in order to be a little bit on the safer side, what we can do is we can switch out our soup for some mind lotus seeds. Make sure we have those ready. And then if we want, we can then go ahead and apply our temperance here on this weapon because we want to make sure that we're clearing out as many of these despair crystals as possible. We can come around, take them out. And this, you gotta be very careful because there's explosive pots here. There you go. Now we can fight this guy fair and square if he comes this way, but of course he's not. Of course he's not, right? That'd be too easy. Take out this despair crystal right here. Now he's on fire, so he's gonna be pretty weak to us right now. Back away, because he's gonna start striking eventually. Usually 4 strikes. There you go. He did a 5th strike, because why not? Usually a 4-hit combo though, to be honest. Really odd that he did more than that, but we'll take him out. He's done. I prefer the axe with him because it does do tons of stagger damage, but I wanted to make sure we took out those crystals because they can be incredibly nuisance. You know, they can be a real big nuisance and incredibly lethal and kill you instantly. So we're going to grab all the items around this stone here. And then we got these guys to take out, so let's go ahead and take them out quickly. Remember, there's more despair crystals. If your despair is building up, you do have the mind lotus seeds. But yeah, unfortunately, I went ahead and took that safe route and And you got to be very careful though, because you can easily get overcome by the despair. Because you're not paying attention to it, you're trying to actually engage in battle, and it's a real problem. Back away so he doesn't explode on you. And grab these goodies right here. You're going to notice a ladder, but we're not going to take it. If we took that ladder, we'd appear right in the middle of the rebel camp, and we'd be in tons of trouble. So we're not going to even mess with that at all. We're pretty much okay now to remove this and go back to the soup if we like. But yeah, it's unfortunate that we had to use a charge that wasn't incredibly effective with this particular weapon, but it's fine. Now what we're going to be doing is circling around, and this is kind of the secret pathway, if you will, to the rebel area. I like this area quite a bit though, because it takes us straight to the rebel shrine. So the rebel camp does have a shrine there. You can kill the cuckoo up there like I just did, and we can speak with Leenzee. Essentially, he's saying, hey, summon me because there's a boss right in here. And this is Leenzee, the optional boss that we need to defeat. If we summon Leenzee in that fight, he'll give us 3 special pills after the fight. If we don't, he won't. So make sure we get those. You can take a soup here. You really don't need to, but we're 2 feet away from the shrine. But in either case, what we're going to do is make our way back up here. It's kind of like working our way backwards, essentially. And we avoid this mine right there. And then if you come up here, immediately to the right, there's going to be a ladder. There's 2 rebels right there, and you can take them out, but because we're going to teleport, it's not going to be incredibly effective because they're going to respawn anyways, which kind of sucks, but you just need to avoid getting shot, essentially. Teleporting counts as an enter the dream, so you replenish all your vases, all the enemies respawn to. Do not trigger or aggro that enemy just yet. We're just going to activate this shrine. It is a safe shrine, clearly, otherwise I wouldn't have rushed it, but always make sure if it's a new shrine to you that you are checking for the instrument and the offer blood prompt. Alright, so let's see, what else could we do here with our lives? We can work our way towards this, or we could see what our longsword's doing. Honestly, either thing is kind of fine, it doesn't really matter what. Though as we work our way towards here, we're going to get more ability to clash, so that's fine. But in either case, now, finally, we can go to Mort Grotto. And that's going to take us to the other side, pretty much right in front of where those cannon guys are. Unfortunately, teleporting does count as entering the dream, so everything respawns, so we don't get to get the drop on these enemies, sadly, but it's fine. But fortunately, we get our temperance uses back, so we're good to go. And we now have 3 because we've added a temperance charge. Alright, so keep the lashing whip out for now so we can destroy the despair crystals alongside the enemies. And this is a really fun area. I actually absolutely love this. So if you can quickly take this guy, go ahead, watch this enemy, cross the arms, we're going to dash it and be good to go. We'll grab this item, and then it's so cool because what we're gonna do is that there, believe it or not, is a tree enemy. I was gonna say ent. It's a tree enemy, and it's really funny because that seems like an ambush, right? There's a really cool looking item there, and this weird, strange tree inside of a inside of a cave. It's like, yeah. Well, don't approach it directly. Instead, go around, take out these crystals so that you're safe. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch weapons. We're gonna add temperance to our weapon here. And we're going to go in for the kill. So make sure that you dash away as soon as you can. And we're going to go for the kill here with this set of strikes. I'm telling you, the axe is just far superior because he is unable to pretty much counter that at all. If you still have some juice in the axe, you can come around and watch for this coffin enemy on the other side of this. But you can take him out pretty easily. There you go. And then you can just switch to the lashing whip for this. Remember, in other games, if you put away the weapon you've just imbued, you would lose your temperance immediately or whatever you imbued the weapon with, but not in this game. So another quality of life thing. So like, look, I put it away and I still have it. I did that multiple times throughout that encounter, so really, really nice. But anyways, it's probably going to run out because we don't have any way to prolong the charge just yet, so no worries. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to continue clearing out this area, and watch for all these enemies here with the temperance. Oh, and I'm sorry, the despair crystals. We'll take them out. Watch your despair meter. Keep in mind that if you need to get the mind crystal or the mind lotus seeds, you certainly can. We're gonna go this way and take out this enemy next. And we can grab the goodies. It's gonna just give us some chance to drop our meter down a little bit without having to use some seeds. I'd prefer not to, just because I'm lazy. But that despair meter's going down really nicely. Break this cart here and pick up this item. We're gonna rush this despair crystal, and we're gonna do the same with this enemy right over here. And now we've essentially cleared out everything in this particular area. We can grab all the goodies that they've been protecting and guarding so vehemently, and I'm gonna move out. We've got another despair crystal here, and I'm gonna show you that they are not tired of using the same old trick. So guess what, guys? We're gonna have another half of a tree sticking out right there. I wonder what that means, right? I think we've learned at this point. So we're gonna go ahead and temper our axe yet again. We're gonna approach this enemy. Now be careful, because if you get hit by him coming out, you are gonna get jacked up. So wait for him to come out, and then go for your strikes. Every chance you get, use your weapon ability, and then just keep spamming your R1. And that should finish him off. That pretty much trivializes the entire encounter. If not, you are going to have to be a little bit more strategic in that particular bout. But we've taken out that enemy. We're good to go. No more tree ambushes, I promise. There might be a little plant ambush, but not quite a tree. And I'll tell you exactly what I mean. So here we have another cuckoo. We're going to go ahead and throw the spear. Can we reach it? Yes, we can. Wuchang is a master at throwing the daggers. Avoid these mines here, and just be very careful, because it's so easy to just beeline towards an item. If you want, you can take a soup. Not really a big deal, but we're going to come up and pull this lift, and just be very careful. Like, keep an ear out for things, because as we rush up here, there's going to be a really interesting encounter where a bamboozler kind of wakes up and rushes the opposite way away from us. Typically, it would be running this way, and it's pretty much one you're guaranteed to miss. But if he runs the other way, he should trigger an explosive booby trap and die, and you'll be getting a bamboo shoot automatically. And this is something that pretty much is guaranteed to happen if you trigger the encounter from this side. If you go on the other side where the cannon guys were, where the shrine was at Rebel Camp, then we'll completely miss the encounter. So keep an ear out. As we get to the top, you should hear him. He's going to aggro, and then we're going to rush him, and he just dies there, right? So there you go. So you're pretty much guaranteed that bamboo shot, and be careful when you are rushing him, because there's mines everywhere, but he is going to do all the work for you. If you come from the other side, so those cannons, we were actually behind those guys, and we came up that ladder. You can see right where the red is at on the cap. And that was the shrine right there. So we're going to be very careful. What we're going to do is we're actually going to beeline up this pathway right here, okay? So we do have one more encounter, so let's make it count. We can switch to the axe. If we can safely grab this, great. If not, looks like we're good. Okay, good. Sometimes they see us and they're kind of nasty about it, but rush up here, and then don't go beyond these crates. These enemies should aggro, but I guess they're not for some reason. Usually all three of them aggro, but hey, it's fine if they want to do one at a time. We can take turns. Now, if they're going to be jerks about that, we can certainly try and aggro them with some knives. There you go. Now they're going to trigger like normal. That was pretty annoying. They typically already aggro whenever you come across that threshold and then come up this ramp. So no worries, not a big deal. Now we can rush them safely though. I'll say that and get hit in the face with a sword, but you know. Alright. Now we can rush them safely, right? So they're dead, and what we're going to be doing is coming up this way. And we can temper our weapon one final time and take out this big tree guy right here. Rush this enemy, he might get in a cheeky little strike. And then we can just continue our R1 spam and just destroy this enemy like normal. Weapon ability, and he's toast. And that's the best way to take out the tree enemies. Use the axe, guys. Empyrean Great Axe is incredibly powerful for this. So grab these 2 items right here, and then we're going to work our way up this little tower here. There's going to be some goodies up above and a chest. And I do apologize this episode being a little bit longer, but it's just because of the nature of this area. It's just incredibly expansive. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be ending the episode here soon once we circle back to the Rebel Camp Shrine. And that'll only leave the Rebel Camp and 2 bosses for us. So it'll be really nice and clean, just so that you know there's nothing around here. It's all just kind of an empty area. We've already obtained all the goodies. So we're going to make our way back behind the cannon guys and go back to the shrine. So essentially we've cleared everything out in the surrounding area of Cloudspire City, but we just have not done the actual Rebel Camp yet, which is essentially this area right in front of us. But we are going to be taking the Rebel Camp in a very specific way so that we're pretty much getting the back of nearly every enemy, and we're also going to be getting the drop on everybody without having to deal with any threats or ambushes aside from the ones that are essentially guaranteed. So we're going to be going the safest route possible. So really fun stuff there. Let's see if we can level up any further. I wouldn't mind a little more vitality. It's always nice. And then we'll just continue kind of working our way to get some more stamina. That means we can strike even more. So we're in really good shape there. We don't have any more upgrades for the mana vases, so we are pretty much ready for the next episode, which is going to be clearing the Rebel Camp near Cloudspire. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was a little bit longer, but we've done everything so far in the best way possible. If you guys learned something, or if you guys wanted to mention anything in the comments, be sure to let me know. It lets me know you want more content just like this. Thank you guys so much for being the best part of my channel. And until next time, it's the Inhuman One signing out. I'll catch you guys next time.